Hey, so I'm gonna go over the book of Lamentations with you and let you know some stuff maybe you hadn't known before. I found out when I read it, I didn't realize what it was even about until I read it several times, but it's about the destruction of the second temple. It's about God's fierce judgments. God's judgments are as fierce as his mercies are great, and that's put on full display in the book of Lamentations. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, and I'm going to also look at the book of Obadiah, which has judgments concerning Esau in it, and also the 35th chapter of the book of Ezekiel, which also has judgments concerning Esau. And this appertains to the prophecies that are in the book of Lamentations. And I'll show you why. So we'll just go ahead and get started. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. All of her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her, and they are become her enemies. Her adversaries are the chief, and her enemies prosper. For the Lord has afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions, and her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. And it talks of the daughter of Jerusalem, or daughter of Zion, which is Jerusalem, as a woman, like God talks about her like she's a woman, and many times refers to her as being an adulterous woman. And so that's what he's talking about here, is Jerusalem, and it pertains, and we can see here in verse 9. I'm about to read verse 9. I'll just go ahead and read it and show you what I think about it. It says, her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembered not her last end. So that last end thing right there is important. It says, therefore she came down wonderfully, and she had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enmity has magnified himself against me. So her last end can only refer to the destruction of the first temple. And Jerusalem's only destroyed in classical times twice, by the Babylonians, and that was the destruction of Solomon's temple, and then the destruction of the second temple by the Romans in 70 AD. So this saying that she remembered not her last end indicates that this was a prophecy concerning the destruction of the second temple. Okay, so on verse 14 says, the yoke of my transgressions is bound by his hand. They are wreathed and have come upon my neck, and he hath made my strength to fail. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I'm not able to rise up. And saying that God has delivered them into the hands of whom they are not able to rise up refers to the Romans, because they didn't rise up from the Roman destruction. Now, they tried in the Bar Kokhba revolt, and it didn't go so hot. Okay, and they did rise up from the Babylonians. Persians conquered the Babylonians. Cyrus the Great allowed the temple to be rebuilt, and but they fought, and they kept going for all the way up to the Greeks. They fought against the Greeks, and they overcame the Greeks after being conquered by the Greeks. And then the Romans took them in 63 BC. Pompey the Great took the city, and they became a tributary. So on over, I'm going to see, verse 17. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is as a minstrous woman among them, and her adversaries, which is who they're talking about, and which is Rome and others. They have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble, and they are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for my transgressions. And my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. And this refers to them that mocked during the day of the calamity. And we're seeing over here, and we can see in the book of Obadiah and Ezekiel, it refers to the children of Edom as having mocked the children, and children of Edom are Esau's descendants, if you didn't know that, and they mocked ruthlessly the children of Israel during the day of their calamity, and God is not real happy about that. God is such a one that doesn't appreciate, even if he's afflicting a people, for their adversaries to mock him, because he says he'll turn it upon the adversary instead of the one that he might take his wrath away from the one that he's destroying and put it upon the ones that are mocking him. And that's kind of what we see happen here. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and in the time of their iniquity, the time that their iniquity had an end. And so this time that their iniquity had an end would be the destruction of the second temple, because they had a lot of iniquity after the destruction of the first temple. And and it says, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and this is referring to the Mount Seir, and this is Esau's inheritance. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, and they are given to us to consume. Thus with your mouth have you boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me, and I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord God, when the whole earth rejoices, I will make thee desolate. And when the whole earth rejoices is going to be after the day of the Lord, and judgment, first judgment. And so it's indicating the cutting off of Esau. And I've got the book of Obadiah, also referenced concerning judgments on Esau for mocking his brother during the day of their calamities, which is the destruction of the second temple. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Very tough judgment. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, and as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and they shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. And says that Esau should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, they should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor had laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest they have stood in the crossway to cut off those that did escape, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So the judgments against Esau's descendants, the Edomites, for committing crimes against God's chosen people, are reflected there. And it's a brutal scene here in Jerusalem on that day. And there's famine. It says, all her people do sigh, they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. It is nothing to you, all ye that pass by. Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherefore the Lord has afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. And so there was a prolonged famine in the second temple destruction that did not occur in the first temple. We're told by the prophet Jeremiah that the bread ran out in the city, and the city was taken by the Babylonians. But there was a prolonged famine, as recorded by Josephus in the War of the Jews that took place in Jerusalem here. So the indication is that they were starving to death. And even on into the other chapters, it really gives it more candidly about what happens. I'll go over that in future videos. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Godspeed.